we had over 6,000 SKUs. We had several departments. We had labeling issues. And I know, KLS and those guys in the medical device world know that a label problem is as big as any problem you have. Under the old phase of DMAIC, we would have value stream mapped every labeling process in the facility, and there was many. Under this method and putting Toyota 8D in there, I was going to break the problem down to say, look, we print labels in 42 different areas. What area is the problem coming from? So I don't have to go map. I'm not going to go map, 41 processes that don't have this labeling issue. I'm going to focus on the one that does. A lot of times when you're breaking it down, again, you're actually helping with your fishbone and potential causes because you're ruling things out, right? For example, I'll take you back to California with the catheters. We went through and said, how many different lines make these catheters? There was 3. Okay. Is the problem coming from one of them or all of them? If it's coming from all of them, then I can rule out it's not line. I can rule out it's not people, right? Unless there's the crazy odds that you're doing the same thing. But we found it was on this case, it was on every line. Okay. Then I said, there's 3 shifts. Is it one shift more than the other? No, it wasn't. It was pretty spread out across all shifts. So I can kind of rule those things out. Right. So we're narrowing our focus down. So then we went through and we mapped the silicone as it came in. Right. So they bought big blocks from a supplier. They brought it in as a big chunk. They sent it through a clean room that took these big chunks, broke them down into smaller ones so that they could send them through the engineers don't laugh at me here, but I think it's the extrude honing process where they make the catheters. So I knew the problem was we started following the process, right? Trying to break down the point of occurrence. So I grabbed, one of the engineers and I grabbed operators and we went and we did a high level map of the process, kind of what I told you. We buy it in big chunks, we bring it in, we receive it, we send it through a clean room that breaks it into smaller chunks. We then package that, send it to the line. The line sends it through the machines. It makes the catheters, it's inspected, and then it's packaged. So we did that high level map. And then looking for the point of occurrence, we walked backwards until the specs went away. We knew we had them at packaging. We found them. So we looked at, did they have the specs before they went through the machines? Yes. Did they have the specs after they come out of the clean room or, during the packaging process? Yes. Then we looked at, did they have these specs when it come out of the clean room? And they did. So then we kept going backwards. Well, what we found was they did not have the specs when they came in from the supplier. So that tells me, again, not being a rocket scientist, that tells me something's happening in that clean room. I don't have specs before it goes in that clean room to get from big blocks to smaller ones, but I did have them when it came out. So now my point of occurrence is that clean room. So now I can go do my value stream map and my deep dive of the clean room instead of the entire process. I'm saving a lot of wasted time mapping out the entire process, looking at all the details of 3 lines, 3 shifts. I didn't have to do that because I could prove, hey, it goes into the clean room clean, it comes out with specs. So it narrowed our focus, and that's what that with data, that's what that helps you do in the measure phase. So the measure phase, I've now found my point of occurrence. My problem is I'm having silicone go into the clean room, clean, come out with black specs, right? Now I can go into my analyze and start doing my fishbone. And again, talking about the fishbone, I didn't just get a bunch of engineers in the room saying what could cause that in the clean room. We went and we watched and we watched and we watched the clean room. What I learned from Toyota is if you watch the problem long enough, the process long enough, the problem and the solution will slap you in the face. So long story short, what we found was that one of the pieces of equipment in the clean room that cut these down, there was a vent above that clean room, a filter system, a vent above it that was dropping particles onto the machine. And all right, so we looked at that. And it's like, all right, particles are falling out of that vent. So the root cause the vent's dirty? If I'm going to follow my 5 whys, that's not it. So we confirmed that as a cause, right? I was able to prove, hey, this is a cause, guys. Look, it comes before the machine clean, out of the machine dirty. Anybody here want to object that this machine's not the cause? And I couldn't get that objection. Everybody agreed with me. So long story short, what we found was that when they put in that clean room and they put in all their PMs. They did not have a PM installed to change those filters. So those filters have been there for a very long time, and they just got more and more particles and dust in them, and it got so full it was dropping particles on the machine. Anybody want to guess if that not putting these filters on their PM process was on the fishbone of 116 things? Anybody want to guess if that was on there? It was not, right? So again, you had somebody like me come in and just follow this structured approach that I teach, and we were able to solve a major issue. And they had been on back order for quite a while. They were millions and millions of dollars in back order, and just teaching this approach helped them find that and to put in countermeasures, get that fixed, and they never had that issue again. So